Of course, still on the news at this time. Let's go back to, of course, the World Press Conference by Atiku Abubakar and the People's Democratic Party. And of course, what we just showed you moments ago. Right now, we have on standby News Central's Amadine Uyi, who is actually at the venue of the conference that just held moments ago. Amadine, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you very much, Dapo. Can you hear me?
Very well, Amadine. Amadine, I mean, a lot has been okay. A lot has been said. Just keep us up to speed.
A lot of it was jam-packed before. Many of those who were here have left the venue. But to just give you a summary of what the former vice president said. First of all, he thanked Nigerians for standing by him as he went on this quest to uncover an information he believed had been hidden from the public for over 20 years. He thanked the former human rights activist Gani Fawemi, who began this quest, saying that he believes that wherever Gani is, Gani will now rest in peace. He said everything he had done and everything he did, he went at great lengths to spend a lot of money to uncover the truth on for the interest of Nigerians and on the interest of democracy. He also emphasized that there cannot be democracy without the tenets of law, that elective offices are built on the foundation of the principle of rule of law, which he believes that the president had breached when he vied for office of the president. He said that he will continue and he will continue to push till after the Supreme Court rules on this. I know you want to ask me what are the contents of the documents that was handed over to him by the Chicago State University. His lawyer, Barrister Kalu, came out to give just a summary of those documents. Number one, he said that based on the documents provided by Chicago State University, it was clear that the diploma submitted by the president was forged. Secondly, he said that the document that was used to get admission from the Southwest College into the Chicago State University, that the document showed that it was a female that was given that admission. Thirdly, he said that the NYSC certificate submitted by the vice president bears a middle name, Adekunle, but everybody knows that the middle name of the president is Ahmed. And the last point which he made, he said that the school which the president said he attended in Lagos started 1974. But in the president's application to Chicago State University, he said that the school started, that he was a student in 1970. He said these are the issues that they are pushing to the Supreme Court, and they believe that based on Nigeria's laws, the Supreme Court can admit fresh evidence, and they are confident that the Supreme Court will admit this evidence and then will take a fresh look at the matter, and they are confident that they will get victory at the apex courts.
I mean, Amadine, what do you see as a fallout? I mean, the fallout of all of this. What do you see happening in, will I call it now, subsequent weeks, particularly as regards within the camp of the APC, and also, I mean, at the level of the Supreme Court?
Now, let me start from the camp of the APC. We are here we will be hoping that in the next 1 to 2 or 3 hours, the APC will come out with their own reply regarding this press briefing. But the vice president, the former vice president, and the president of the People's Democratic Party made it very clear when he was asked the question if he was afraid that or he was not sure if government was going to go against after his business concerns. He said that he's not worried about that government has gone against his business concerns in the past. He is not a contractor for government. He does not do any business with government. So he's not worried, and he has not entertained any of those kind of worries and fears. But we know after this press briefing, we'll be getting reactions and counter reactions from the government. But the former vice president made one point very clear. I think he extended a hand of fellowship to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and the presidential candidate of the New Nigerian People's Party, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. He urged them to join this his campaign and his quest to ensure that the rule of law, according to him, prevails in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Ahmadine, and of course, stay safe.
Thank you very much, Dapo.
All right, now still, of course, maintaining this conversation, we are joined now by public affairs analyst Taiwo Osanyin to shed more light on this, what I call it, emerging development. Taiwo, thank you so much for joining in. Please, can you kindly unmute so that we can hear you? Great. Taiwo, once again, thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you for having me.
I mean, I want to believe you've seen all of the moments that occurred or unfolded during the World Press Conference. Let's first lay some foundation. What is your general take on some of the things the former Vice President and also the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party said at that conference?
Well, I don't want to sound partisan. I want to sound like a Nigerian. And one thing I must appreciate the former vice president of the country is that I want to appreciate their efforts in ensuring that they actually came to bear on the different perspectives of the president's certificate. It has been a long debate. Does the president have his certificate? Did he really go to the school? Is he on all those kind of issues? And other persons have also gone ahead to actually, to that same school, Chicago State University, to actually confirm if truly the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually attended the school. Someone like Renan Mokre at some point laid education on that premise and even said that he could actually put a $10,000 bet on that issue. But be that being said, we must appreciate the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate for taking some extra efforts to also ensure that these were clearly put into the Nigerian focus so as to avoid these debates here and there, even though there have been speculations coming up in the past over 23 years ago in specific, when the then Lagos State governor, who is now the president, was taken to court by the late Gani Fawemi in 1998, 1999 on his premise of this same certificate forgery. And also, if I could also remember, it was only Gani that took Bola to court. No, we also had other political candidates at then taking the then governor of Lagos State to court in respect to his certificate forgery. Someone like, if I could remember, the former PDP governorship candidate also took him to court in 2003, alleging on the fact of fake.
Of course, I mean, but let's look at it broader, on a broad perspective right now. What is the implication of this, particularly concerning our electoral process? Because what this has unfolded to some extent is that maybe some sort of due diligence is not usually done, particularly from the electoral umpire, to ensure that documents submitted are actually, what they say they are. So what is the implication of this on our electoral process, on the judicial process also, and also basically on the reputation of Nigeria as a country? Because right now we understand, should any of these allegations be anything to go by, we know that the current president isn't just the president of Nigeria, he's also the chairman of ECOWAS, right? And right now, I mean, Nigeria has been able to get some sort of international, well, I call it attention and recognition, by virtue of this last election. So what is the fallout of all of this, particularly on Nigeria's reputation on the global scene?
Well, sadly, it's a dangerous one as it is right now, because unless we're deceiving ourselves, there's if these evidences are actually brought to the court and the court does its own evaluation without any form of technicalities. I'm not a lawyer, but from what I can see is the possibility of the president being sacked is almost closer to 1 than 0. And that being said, it's also very indicating that it brings a lot of limelight. This limelight is going to be on the premise of the decision of the Supreme Court when the Supreme Court makes their decision on their electoral on the election on in 2023. But that being said, if whatever pendulum it swings on, either to the APC, it's going to be a dangerous strat as well, because in the eyes of the public, in the eyes of the international community, there is this going to be a fallout of Nigeria's president being a president with a forged certificate. And remember that there have been a lot of issues regarding the president as well. If you could remember, prior to the election, we had the issue of drug baron and what have you. So coming in and play again with this certificate surgery only emancipates a lot of worries as a Nigerian, the international community, and in the international world. And the kind of focus that Nigerians will actually now get is going to be of a more dangerous one, which it actually never enjoyed in the past. So it's quite a dynamic conversation. We're only going to wait for what the Supreme Court is going to unfold in our decision towards the election. But if these evidences are really true and are actually evidence in court that would actually, which the people have submitted, as stated by Kalu just now in the press conference, it's just evidence that this actually affect the president. However, it will also actually have an effect on our presidential phase. It's either a new election set to be done, or he sacked thoroughly, fully, and then DP emerges as the winner of the election and whatever. And that is also a problem, because we cannot have a system where people win political offices via the court. And that is a very big problem in respect to what you said about due diligence. Sadly, in the country today, very few people, even private organizations, do due diligence in trying to identify different kind of documents. And apart from maybe banks who always do the KYC and what have you. But that being said, it also shows that the INEC, because it's more of like a lacuna for that brings up such conversation, because what INEC is supposed to do is to actually bring out these documents and sort it out whether it is fake or original. And if that is not done by the governing council or the governing body of the electoral empire, as electoral empire, it's dangerous, because it only boils down to the fact that I, as an opposition candidate, and also I find it, or I'm finding it disgruntled to say, okay, this person he doesn't find or doesn't have a certificate, or his certificate is being forged. That's when INEC listens to me, and that is only very, very sad on the part of the governing council as well of INEC.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Taiwo. I mean, we sincerely appreciate your contribution at this time. Once again, thank you.
Thank you for having me.